Joyo Radha Kunjo Bihari Gopijono Bollo Giriboroda Gopijono Bollo Giriboroda Yashodanandano Brajajano Yashodanandano Brajajano Ranjan Yamuna Tiro Onuchari Yamuna Tiro Chari Jayora Malo Kunjo Bihari Jayora Malo Kunjo Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Haribo. So Hare Krishna everybody. So today as usual in our Bhagavatam class we will start from Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita. So I am sharing the screen. As a sannyasi, I have a personal purse. I have no personal purse for expenditure. Under the circumstances, if the government denies to help for the passage, then I have to ask for the same from you. Otherwise, my going to the Congress will end in dream only. I have very little faith in the dealings of the politicians and especially of the Indian politicians. From the conversation of Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, it appeared to me that the government doesn't approve of such congress as organized by the private persons, and as such, they do not participate in such congress. I shall wait for the final decision for 1 week, more when the matter will be clear, yes or no. Replies from the prospective donors in India were all negative. On April 20, he cabled Mr. Nakam. As we have developed a deep love for me, I dare to ask you to send me financial help to take me to Japan. I think you can immediately instruct your embassy in Delhi to do the needful and dispatch me to Japan on your behalf. I am feeling too much to meet you and the Congress so that we can build up a solid institute for spiritual cultivation. I shall wait your instruction by cable to fix up my program. But Mr. Nathano could not help, and Bhakti Siddhanta Swami's effort ended in a dream only. In 1962, Bhaktivedanta Swami changed his Vrindavan residence from Vamsi Gopalji temple to Radha Damodar temple. For 3 years, he had been paying the rent for 5 rupees per month for his Radha Damodar room and paying for the expensive repairs. But now the main room had electric lighting and fan, and the walls had been plastered and painted. The room was 7 feet by 15 feet with smooth plaster walls and a floor of sandstone squares of uneven sizes, the same as the stone tiles cemented in front of the Samadhi of Rupa Goswami. The room was furnished with a small, low desk, a cushion mat, a wooden cot with a rope-woven surface to lie on. The view was not the panorama he had enjoyed at Keshigata, and the neighborhood was not so secluded. But now, without even moving from room, he could look into the temple and see a portion of the altar and the 4 foot high form of Vrindavan Chandra. The black marble Krishna deity, Krishna Das Kaviraj, had worshipped hundreds of years ago. The main room was connected to the kitchen by a 10-foot long veranda, which faced the courtyard, and from the kitchen, he could see the Samadhi of Rupa Goswami. So, the place was superior to his room at the Vamsi Gopalji temple, because now he was living in the temple of Jiva Goswami, where great souls like Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and Raghunatha and Jiva had all gathered, taken prasadam, chanted, and discussed Krishna and Lord Chaitanya. It was best place to work Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. So I'm ending the Lilamrita now. I'm sharing the screen for the Bhagavatam. So everybody, can everybody see the screen now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vesam Tato Jayamudire Nashto Prayesho Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Nashtiki. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So today we are reading Canto 4, Chapter 23 and verse 8. Teno kramanu siddheno dhasto karma malashaya pranayamo shanniruddha sarvargas chinna vandhana. Teno kramanu siddheno dhasto karma malashaya pranayamo shanniruddha sarvargas chinna vandhana. Teno kramanu siddheno dhasto karma Malashaya pranayamo shanniruddha sarvargas chinna bandhana. So, anybody wants to recite?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please.
Ena karmanu siddhena dasta karma malashaya pranayamo shanniruddha sarvargas chinna bandhana.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Tena kramanyushitena dvasta karma malashaya pranayamo shanniruddha sarvargas chinna bandhana. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. I am also trying.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please continue.
Tena karmanu siddhena dashta karma malasaihi प्राणायामैष निरुद्ध षड्वर्गश्चिन्न बन्धनः. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Anyone else? So now the synonyms. Teno, thus by practicing such austerities, chromo, gradually, uno, constantly, siddheno, by perfection, dhosto, smashed, karmo, fruitive activities, molo, dirty things, ashayo, desire, pranayamoi, by practice of pranayam yoga, breathing exercise, sen, being, niruddha, stopped, shadvarga, the mind and senses, and chinna bandhana, completely cut off one page. So can anyone please read the translation, please?
I'll try, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please.
Thank you, Prabhu. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. By thus practicing severe austerities, Maharaja Prithu gradually became steadfast in spiritual life and completely free from all desires for fruitive activities. He also practiced breathing exercises to control his mind and senses. And by such control, he became completely free from all desires for fruitive activity. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. And anyone can start the purport, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The word pranamai is very important in this verse because the Hasta Yogi, Ashtanga Yogis practice pranayam. But generally they do not know the purpose behind it. The purpose of pranayama or mystic yoga is to stop the mind and senses from engaging in fruitive activities. The so-called yogis who practice in Western countries have no idea of this. The aim of pranayama is not to make the body strong or fit for working hard. The aim is worship of the Krishna. In the previous verse, it was specifically mentioned that whatever austerity, pranayam or mystic yoga practices Prithu Maharaj performed were performed for the sake of worshipping Krishna. Thus, Prithu Maharaj serves as a perfect example for yogis also. Whatever he did not please the Supreme Person. He did it to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. The minds of those who are addicted to fruitive activity are always filled with unclean desires. Fruitive activities are symptomatic of our polluted desire to dominate the material nature. As long as one continues to be the subject of polluted desires, he has to accept one material body after another. The so-called yogis, without the knowledge of the real purpose of yoga, practice it in order to keep the body fit. Thus they engage themselves in fruitive activities, and thus they are bound by the desires to accept another body. They are not aware of the ultimate goal of life is to approach Krishna. In order to save such yogi from wandering throughout the different species of life, the Shastras warns that in this age, such yogic practice is simply waste of time. The only means of elevation is the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. King Prithu's activities took place in Kshatrayuga. In this age, this practice of yoga is misunderstood by fallen souls who are not capable of practicing anything. Consequently, the Shastras enjoin Kalo nasta, eva nasta, eva nasta, eva gatirannata. The conclusion is that unless the karmis, jnanis and yogis come to the point of devotional service to Lord Krishna, their so-called austerities and yoga have no value. Naradita of Hari. If Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is not worshipped, there is no point in practicing meditational yoga, performing karma yoga, or culturing empiric knowledge. As far as pranayam is concerned, chanting of the holy name of the Lord and dancing in ecstasy are also considered pranayama. In the previous part, Sanat Kumar instructed Maharaja Pitu to engage constantly in the service of the Supreme Lord Vasudev. Yat pada pari pankaja palasa vilasha bhaktaya karmashyamo grantim udagranti shantaha. Only by worshipping Vasudev one can become free from the desires of fleeting activities. Outside worshipping Vasudev, the yogis and gyanis cannot attain freedom from such desires. Tatvan na rikta matayo yato api rutta soto ganas tam aranam bhaja Vasudevam. Bhagavatam 4:22-39. Yet the word pranayama does not refer to any ulterior motive. The actual aim is to strengthen the mind and the senses in order to engage them in the devotional service. In the present age, this determination can be very easily acquired simply by chanting the holy names Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, as we have told, we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, and it is Canto 4, Chapter 23, verse 8, and the heading of this canto is the creation of the fourth order, and the heading of the chapter is Maharaja Pitu is going back home. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Shopadantika Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Pada Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavansha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Shagana Raghunatanitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Shagana Lalita Sri Vishakanitam Sho He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanto Radha Kanto Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Bindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Shute Devi Pranamami Purite Mancha Kalpatarubhyasya Vipashindubhyo eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Srimad Prabhu Padanugami Sri Shubha Goswamine Sada Danya Shri Shubhagaya Sarva Jiva Kripabdaya Guru Shiksha Sadacharo Palokaya Namistute Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshodarini Namo Mahapadannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurattishe Namo Mukam Karoti Vacharam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Sri Guru Dinataranam. Hare Krishna everybody. Welcome to this morning class of Srimad Bhagavatam. Although I am unqualified, but I am doing this service as I have been instructed, and it is an opportunity for me to purify myself. So I beg you all for your mercy and please forgive and bless me so that I can glorify the Supreme Lord Krishna, and please bless me to do that and forgive me if I commit any mistake because I am not qualified. Now, as a brief background of this topic, in this present chapter we see that we continue to hear about Prithu Maharaj, who is a Shaktavesh avatar of the Lord, a king a highly elevated devotee of the Lord and a great personality. He is in this verse we see that he is doing serious austerity and preparing himself to go back to his eternal home, back to Godhead. And we have already heard in previous chapters, and chapter 15, we heard about Prithu's appearance and how he was coronated as a king after the death of his father, Venu. And then when he took over the kingdom, the professional reciters praised about King Prithu. That was in chapter 16. And in chapter 17, Prithu Maharaj, while he took over as a king of the whole earth planet, he was angry with the earth, and subsequently he talked to earth and find out a solution for that. And then because the Mother Earth was not supplying enough food for his citizens, so that was a concern for the king, and he managed it so well. And after that, he milked the earth planet. And in chapter 19, King Prithu started making 100 horse sacrifices, and we know that he could not complete it. And then Lord Brahma appeared in his sacrificial arena. And after that, subsequently in chapter 20, we find that Lord Vishnu also appeared in the sacrificial arena and instructed Prithu Maharaj. And subsequently, Prithu Maharaj instructed his subjects or the citizens. And in the last chapter, Prithu Maharaj met the 4 Kumaras. And in this chapter, in this particular chapter, as we have seen, that Prithu Maharaj is preparing to go back to. He has completed his kingship, and after that he is going back to home and is preparing for that. And that was the practice in the previous days. And so he is doing extreme austerity, and he has gone to the forest for doing austerity, and by so doing he has become steadfast in his spiritual life and completely free from all desires and fruitive activities, because fruitive activities bind us, and while doing that, free from fruitive activities, he is practicing breathing exercise also and control his mind and senses. And by such control, he wants to become completely free from the desires of fruitive activities. Fruitive activities are, in fact, in the present day, not only the present day, any time, the fruitive activities bind us in this material world by the results of the activities of our action or karma. And so the purpose of doing austerity, what Prithu Maharaj is doing, is to control the mind and senses, because by controlling the senses, by such control, he wants to become completely free from all desires of fruitive activity. And it is clearly stated also in the previous verse, that all he is doing is for the satisfaction of Krishna. He has no other desire. And as you all know, and we must remember that Prithu Maharaj is doing this in the Sattva Yuga. And presently we are in Kali Yuga. In Sattva Yuga, the beginning of the first age to start with, Sattva Yuga people used to live 100,000 years. People had a very long life, and they could afford a long time. They could afford a long time for long meditation, which you have seen previous kings used to do. And Prithu Maharaj, who is an exemplary devotee of the Lord, has also followed the same path of austerity through meditation. But as we know, it is not possible in this age of Kali, because in Kali Yuga, the situation is altogether different. When we are worshipping the Lord, we must remember the circumstances we are placed in, and particularly the age in which we are living. In this age of Kali, the people had very small tenure of life. It is told about 100 years. But so looking at this, I mean, in Srimad Bhagavatam, we can remember in the very first chapter, when the rishis of Naimisharanya asked to Shuta Goswami, what is the ultimate good for the all human being? they asked him, and one of the things they have told, they tried to tell to Suta Goswami was that the people in this age of Kali has got small life, and I'm just reading the verse. It is 1:10. It is mentioned. What is the quality of the age of Kali? The quality has been described in that particular verse. It is called Praenolpa Ayusho Shabdo Kalashmin Yuge Jana Manda Sumando Matayo Mando Bhagyahi Upadhuta. That means Praenolpa, people have got a very small life, it is telling, and it is also very less lifespan. And this age of Kalo means it is an age of quarrelsome, and Manda means here it is lazy, and Shumando Mata is misguided. People are misguided, do not know what exactly they have to do in the spiritual life. Most of the people are not aware. And Mando Bhagya, they are unlucky, and he Upadruta means they are always disturbed. So we see the people of this age are, and Prabhupada has told people are not only lazy materially, but they are also materially in every sphere, in self-realization as well. This human life which we have got, this human life we have got has got a special purpose, because unlike the other living beings which have got a less consciousness, the consciousness is much lower, but in human life we have got a higher consciousness, and we are mean. The Lord has created us and given us this opportunity of this human life to think higher. And if we do not consider it, and we cannot go beyond this cycle of birth and death, then we are misusing our time. And this is Lord Adi Shankaracharya has got a famous verse on that, and it says that Punaropi jananam, punaropi maranam, punaropi janari jatare sahanam, iha samsare bahudustare kripaya pare pahi murare. He's telling that we are punaropi jananam, we are repeatedly in the pangs of birth again and again, and again passing through punaropi maranam, passing through the stage of death again and again. And in the process, we are lying in the mother's womb over and over again. Punaropi janani jatare sahanam. We're doing it. Here, samsara, this material ocean is very hard to overcome. Here, samsare bhudustare kripaya pare paimura. So, Lord, save me. So, this is the ultimate. This is the consciousness of a human being. We have to find out why we are going through it, and this is the main problem of human life. And if we fail to understand that, then we cannot claim ourselves to be a human being in the real sense of the term. Just because we have got 2 legs and different from the animals doesn't make us human being, unless we realize this particular knowledge. And in fact, this is an important aspect of human life. That why that means why we are here. One should come to know why we are in this material world, and why we are undergoing to this repeated birth and death again, and why we are here, and where we were previously, why we are here, and what will happen to us after the end of this life. And this is called, when we understand it, this is called the Brahmo Jigyasa, or the question starts of spiritual activity starts. And the word we are living and also in this material life we are passing through all miseries. We have to understand that. But if we think that it is a good place to live in, it is not at all. Then we have not realized the origin and the truth behind this, from the surface. And human life is a material existence. We have to understand our relationship. That the first knowledge of the human, the first knowledge of spiritual knowledge is that we are not this body. We are a living spirit soul. And next is, what is our relationship with the Supreme Lord? So that is the question we should come in our mind. In the Kali Yuga, the atmosphere is so surcharged that people are faithless and men have no longer interested in spiritual values. So it has become very difficult, therefore, to raise the spiritual standard in this present age due to distorted values of a human society. What to speak of severe austerities Prithu Maharaj is doing. And those who want to pursue, as Prabhupada is also told, those who want to pursue the spiritual life also here at the present age is also very difficult. And let us read from the purport what Prabhupada was telling. You see, the word, I'm just reading, just 1 second, and I'm going to the page. The word, the Prabhupada has written in the purport, the word pranayama is very important in this verse because auto yogis and ashtanga yogis practice pranayama but generally do not know the purpose behind it. The purpose of pranayama or the mystic yoga is to stop the mind and senses from engaging in fruitive activities. So-called yogis do practice Western countries, have no idea. The aim of pranayama is not to make body strong. Yes, and let us stress, I'm trying to speak on this point. So the purpose of pranayama, as Prithu Maharaj was also doing, is to abstain is to control our mind so that we have no more material desire. Unless we control the waves of material desire in this body or bodily desire or sense gratification, we are binding ourselves in the reactions of our action, and in this way we are creating a situation for an extended material life again and again. We are enlivening our material existence, and the longer we do that, the longer we remain bonded in this material world, and in this way we remain in the cycle of birth and death, and we cannot overcome that one. So the purpose of pranayama is to control the activities of mind, and in this way, controlling our activities, we want to reduce our chance of remaining remain in the cycle of birth and death. We want to get rid of that, but most of the people yoga that people are doing in the present age, they do not know the purpose of the purpose. Yoga means to connect with the Supreme Lord, and by connecting with the condition for connecting to the Supreme Lord is that we should be free from the material contamination, and this contamination or desire to enjoy what this material world. But the yogis have no idea about that, and that's why whatever they are practicing, it is a useless time they are spending, because they do not know the purpose and they're doing something which they will never be able to achieve by this way. And also those who are now people in the human beings have got there are 4 kinds of human beings, and the Kormis, Gyanis, Yogis, and the devotees. And of these 3 categories, the Kormis are totally materialistic, as I have told. Every living beings in this material world are in this age of Kali are Kormis, and they have no desire for material upliftment, so they are Kormis. But there are those who are Gyanis and Yogis. They are spiritual, but they're spiritually motivated. They know the purpose of the Gyanis. They want to know the Lord by the way of through the knowledge they try to know. But by this process they can only know the Brahman aspect of the Lord, and they cannot know the full. They have got only limited knowledge about the Lord. The devotees on the and the yogis who do Ashtanga yogas and others, what they do, they try to understand the Paramatma or the localized aspect of God. So in both the cases, the transcendent, both the transcendentalists have partially, they are trying to know the Lord in partial way. The first one, as I've told, the Gyanis want to know about the the Brahman aspect, which is a all-encompassing Lord. The Lord is existence. I mean, the three aspects of the Lord is there. One is the Lord is everywhere, and his existence everywhere. That aspect, the Brahman aspect, is there, and they understand. The Jnanis try to understand it, and the yogis want to realize the God through who is situated in our heart, in everyone's heart. They want to realize that aspect of the Lord, but they do not realize the Lord in full, or the absolute person. That is what the devotees do. The devotees have got a full knowledge about the Lord, and the Lord is also told in Bhagavad Gita also in 1855. Bhakta mam abhijanati yavanya shashmi tattato tato mam tattato gatta vishate tadanantaram. So the devotees have full knowledge about the Lord, because the Lord has got he has got all opulences of the Lord is known to the devotees, and in this way they are in a superior knowledge than the Jnanis and the yogis. And in fact, in Bhagavad Gita and 646, in 646 and 647, Lord Krishna has told Arjuna about. In 46, he has told about it. Tapasya bodhiko yogi. That means yogi is tapasya bodhiko yogi. Gyani propi matadiko. And he is telling that Gani matadiko kormishya bodhiko yogi tasmat yogi bhavarjuna. So from the kormis, because they are only doing fruitive activities, so these Gyanis and the yogis are superior. But in 47, the Lord clearly explains that of all the yogis, the bhakti yogi is superior. And so the devotees of the Lord who are trying to know the Lord through devotional service, they are superior placed. Because in all the cases, and in fact, that the devotees can know the Lord, all the features of the Lord, is also told in it is known in Brahma Samhita and verse 533. Advaitam achyutam anadi anantarupam Advaitam achyutam anadi antam Addam purana purusham nava yauvanam cha Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhaktav govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajam. So here it is very difficult by Vedas. By studying the Vedas only, one cannot know him. Vedeshu durlabham, one cannot understand the Lord that way. And but adurlabham atma bhaktav, and who is devotee of the Lord, they can know the Lord easily by the mercy of the Lord. But now another point of also that what the transcendentalists are trying to do, or by their austerity, they are trying to overcome the influence of the two, that is Gyanis and yogis. They are also trying to overcome the influence of the modes of material nature and the influence of the senses. But they are doing in a different way, and we are doing in a different way. So I'm telling you what is the obstacle before us, because we have to overcome the influence of the mode of material nature, or the influence of the senses, and this influence are like a river flowing every moment, and in our life, every moment the mind is looking for sense object. And the waves of the river, like the waves of the river, incessantly enters, and it is very difficult to stop them. How we can do them? It's because the desire of the material enjoyment are so strong that they cannot be stopped by process of by controlling the senses, because it is very difficult. And the senses are immediately, there is always a tendency to go for the sense activity, because the sense objects are the sources of enjoyment for the senses. So it is naturally done that way. So it is very difficult to do that. But the bhaktas, or the devotees of the Lord, How they do that? They try to focus on the beautiful form, all their senses that we try to engage for the service of the Lord by hearing about the beautiful form of the Lord, describing the activities of the Lord, and also hearing about the devotees, how the devotees have enjoyed the senses, enjoyed the beautiful form of the Lord, and this transcendental happiness that the devotees get, that keeps them in a higher taste as against the material, the mundane things, which are often of lower level, so and full of contamination. So transcendental bliss that a devotee achieves, or the transcendental bliss automatically gets, helps them to be away from the incessant flow of the desires that the materialistic people have to face. So the Gyanis and Yogis who are not attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, they simply struggle against the waves of desire. And in other words, the Gyanis and Yogis, although they are trying to be free from the desires of material activities, actually become more and more entangled in philosophical speculation and strenuous attempts to stop the activities of the senses. So as I've told, there are three types of people: transcendentalists, the Gyanis, Yogis, and the Bhaktas. And of these, the devotees, or what we are doing is superior, and because the process we have taken is both bona fide and it is also easy to pursue. And in fact, in this age of Kali, or the Kali Yuga, this is the best method. It has been described and prescribed by the authorities. So we are following a prescribed or authorized process, and it is recommended by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. So in Kali Yuga, the age of Kali, the Hari Kirtan is very, very important, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended the chanting of the God's holy name, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And the importance of the holy name is not only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has told it, it is also mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam in Canto 12, chapter 3, and verse 51 and 52 and 3. It is Shukdev Goswami is telling to Parikshit Maharaj. Kaler dosho nidhe rajan astihi eko mahan gunaha kirtana devo krishnasya mukta sangho param brajet. So my dear king, although Kali Yuga is an incessant ocean of fault, there is still one good quality about this. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from material bondage and promoted to the transcendental kingdom. And the other thing is that what was possible in Satya Yuga and Dwapar Yuga and Treta Yuga, all these facilities are available by doing in a simple way in this life. And in the next passage is written, Priteja Dhayato Vishnu, Tritayang Yayato Mukho, Thapore Paricharchayang, Kalo Tadhari Kirtanat. Whatever result was obtained in the Satya Yuga by meditating on the form of Vishnu, meditating on Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifice, and in Dwapar Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, can be obtained in Kali Yuga simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So it is mentioning of the three ways, or the different types of worship that was being followed in different yugas. In Satya Yuga, it was meditation, as Krita Maharaj is doing. In Treta Yuga, it was performing sacrifice. And in Dwapara Yuga, it was by serving the lotus feet of the Lord. But in Kali Yuga, it is specially mentioned that it is simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So the devotees of the Lord, that Krishna is very, very intelligent in the sense, because we are doing what is authorized, and it is a simple process by which we can do that, and we can get the same result as the people in other ages have stated. So the same thing is also confirmed in Brihad Naradiya Puran, and it is recommended in Kali Yuga. Hare Namo, Hare Namo. Prabhupada is also at the top is mentioned. Hare Namo, Hare Namo, Hare Namo, Kevalam. Kalo Nasti, Evo Nasti, Evo Nasti. nasti yogi, evo gatir anyatha. And in this age of moral and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So it is in other, there is no other way, and there is no other way, and there is no other. And because the people in this age are so fallen, we can, and it's very easy, and simply chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and in this way we can get rid ourselves of the bodily conception of life and becomes eligible to the Lord's devotional service. And what is important, one thing we should remember, that what is very important is our intention to serve and satisfy Krishna. That is very important. It is not that we are just because we are not as qualified as Pitu Maharaj, we cannot get the God, we cannot reach the abode of the Lord. The Lord is very kind, and He knows our personal limitations, and so He is aware of our, as all the children of a parents are not equal. So he helps them to. They are not deprived of the parents' love and affection. In a similar way, the Krishna is very compassionate to his devotees. So if our intention is very good and we sincerely try to hear and what has been prescribed, then we will surely attain achieving the lotus feet of the Lord. And as Prabhupada has in ISKCON, Prabhupada has often told this with emphasis, that if we follow the Yama and Niyama, the four regulative principle, and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra offenselessly and follow the instruction which our Guru Maharaj has given to each one of us, and if we follow it, we should remain certain that we can go back to Godhead. But we must have the conviction and the faith on our Guru and the Vaishnavas, and on our own effort, that we have given our best effort for the service of the Lord, giving the best to the Lord. The Lord will reward us by opening up the gates of His abode. If we are successful, we will be successful of that. And also another good qualities the devotees have, since they are always chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, they have a better opportunity of going back to Godhead. Because in Bhagavad Gita, in I think chapter 8 and verse 5, Anto kale cha mameva smaran mukta kalaivaram ya prayati shaumad bhavamati nasti atra samshaya. So since the devotees are all devotees of particularly in the ISKCON, the devotees are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra all the time, it is easy for them to remember the Lord at the time we are leaving our body. So it is easy if we can practice it all the time. And in fact, Sri Krishna has also advised Arjuna about this. And if we remember that particular instruction he has given in verse 8.7, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam smaro juddhacha moyor pita manobuddhir mam evasya asangsha. The Lord is assuring us that if we always remember the Lord in performing our activities in this material world, as Arjuna has been told for the fighting, during his fighting, he should remember the Lord. Similarly, in all our activities, whatever we do, we should remember the Lord, that we are doing it for the service of the Lord. And in this way, we are trying to serve the Lord in all our activities. When we do that, we can be rest assured that we can go back to Godhead, as Prabhupada has given us the opportunity. And if we can utilize it properly, we should have no doubt that we can go back to Godhead. And with that, I'm concluding. And if anybody has any other question, any feelings, any comments, please make. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Beautiful class, beginning with this the pranayam, how the pranayam is understood by all four classes of people, like all we have this karmis, yogis, jnanis, and devotee. And you nicely explained the importance a pranayam and how it differentiates from all other people, all three classes of people who understand the pranayam as their way and is how it is different in case of the devotees. Here, Srila Prabhupada just explained that all three classes except devotee, they do it for the body fitness, whereas they say devotees, they do it for pleasing Krishna. So that's the very 180-degree differences in understanding the pranayam. Here it is said, by this meditational yoga, performing karma yoga or culturing empiric knowledge, that is the part of the three classes of people they are doing. But chanting the holy name, dancing in ecstasy are considered to be pranayam in case of devotees. Such a 180-degree differences, the understanding of pranayam in their cases and in our cases is very, very easy, as Prabhupada already instituted ISKCON, to follow this instruction in a very simple and easy way. So at the end of our life, as mentioned in 8.5 and 7, this is the only way to move towards the goal of our life, that is reaching the God's kingdom is the only way. Remembering Krishna, chant for Krishna, follow the four regulative principles and follow the instruction of the Guru. That will help us in every way to reach our destination. There is no other way. There is no other way. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much for the nice statement. Hare Krishna, if anyone else wants to have any other opinion, please come and say. So it appears there is no other comments to make. So I'm closing class now. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya
कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो
अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय।
जय।
Grace Abhay Charan,
चरण प्रभु की जय। कृष्ण प्रभु
श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Nande, Hare
हरि
Hare.
हरि बोल।
All praise to the assembled devotees.
हरे
हरे
कृष्ण।
कृष्ण।